Okay, so I'm still on page 221, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to show you some things that you can do with GeoGebra, because as I mentioned in the previous video, like it's by far the best way to get to know, like, am I doing this right? What else can I do? That kind of thing. So first thing you're going to do is go to geogebra.org, and this is really important. You're going to click on GeoGebra Classic, right? So there was a lot of choices there. You want Classic because we want a lot of things to be available to us that won't be if we choose anything from the new math apps, because those you can use on like state testing some places, and so they've limited features. But here we got everything. So sometimes when I go here, it gives me this, where I get to choose. I want 3D graphics, so I'm going to click that. It's possible that that might not show up, and if it doesn't, hopefully this is not blocking your view. You're going to go to the top and you're going to click on the three horizontal bars, and you're going to go to view, and then you're going to just check off 3D graphics, right? So if I uncheck it, it goes away. If I check it, it comes back. If you have 2D graphics, you can see both at the same time. So I'm then going to click those bars again at the top, and they're gone. And now maybe my picture will come back, hopefully. Okay, so when you're in 3D view, there's a couple things. So first thing, you want to orient it so that if you were standing at the origin and you put your hand out along the positive x-axis, you would curl your fingers toward the positive y-axis. So if you look at this, the positive something axis is here. The positive something else axis is here. If I stand so that I'm like, I don't know, standing right next to this, and I put my hand on this axis and curl my fingers, they're going to go toward this part of the axis. That's the negative part of the x-axis. I don't want that. So if I stand facing the positive red axis, put my hand out, curl my fingers, they're going to go toward the green axis. And then this blue axis is your z-axis. Another thing about, so this, I'm just going to click and drag and then just let go. And you can see it just keeps spinning. So the x and y axes can spin forever. The z-axis is actually limited. So you can rotate it 180 degrees, but it's like 90 degrees forward and 90 degrees back. And that's basically all you can do. Okay, so what do we want to do in here? Maybe we want to plot a point. So to plot a point, you just do a point. Same way you do a two-dimensional point. So it's going to be like 1, 2, and you can see it like starts plotting it, and then 3. So 1, 2, 3 puts me here. Well, what if I want to like explore that a little more? What if I just type x equals 1? So x equals 1, actually, instead of just being a vertical line in the xy plane, it's a vertical plane, because just like in 2 dimensions, right? If you have x equals 1, then y can be anything. If you have y equals 3, then x can be anything. In this case, we have x equals 1. Both y and z can be anything, which is why we get a plane. So this is the plane x equals 1. If I do y equals 2, I get another plane that's the exact same color, which is sort of annoying. So what you can do is click on that and then go to settings. So I like right clicked or 2-finger clicked, go to settings, go to color, and then just like change it. And then I need to close that. So there's an X up here, which I'm guessing my picture is blocking, but who knows? And then you can so it looks kind of gross because right now it's selected. When you unselect it, the color will change to what you wanted. And then I also want to plot z equals 3, just so I can get a sense, right? So this point, this ordered triple, is the intersection of 3 planes. It's the intersection of x equals 1, y equals 2, z equals 3. And you can change the color again. Then when you unclick it, it'll be the color you picked. And so you can kind of see that, right? So if I orient it this way, you can see it's kind of like the point 1, 2, which makes sense. If I orient it this way, right? So the y-axis is to the right, the z-axis is up. So it's as if I'm looking at the point 2, 3, because I can't really tell that x is equal to 1 because you lose that perspective. But that's what we were talking about when we were plotting points or thinking about where they fell. Are they above or below or whatever? 3D has a lot of options, and it's very cool. So I like to click this because it lets me kind of access all of these. I'm gonna click, 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 click. I'm just turning things off. Okay, I have this. sometimes you want to get rid of the this plane here. You can right click on it and just deselect plane. This is my favorite view. There's another view that I actually like. If you click the little triangle with the parallel lines and then click the grid looking thing, you can actually make the grid show up, which you might like. Okay, so what else can I do? I'm gonna plot, I don't know, just like pick whatever you want. I'm gonna click y equals x squared. Look at that. So instead of just getting a parabola like I expected, so one thing that'll happen is this is it's infinitely thin, right? So if I orient it so that I could look directly at it from like coming toward it, it won't be there. But you can see it looks like the parabola y equals x squared. There's no z, which means z can be anything. So this is actually called a cylinder. And that's a little weird. A more normal cylinder, one that you might be more used to at least. Delete, what did I even do? Where did it even go? Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna plot x squared plus y squared equals 4, right? I don't see anything. Why not? Because the z-axis is coming straight at me, so it's like infinitely thin. Tilt it, what do you see? It looks like a cylinder. All right, so these are some interesting things you can do. There are other things you can do. So if you played around with 2-dimensional curves, play around with 3-dimensional curves. What if I do x is 2 cosine of t and y is 2 sine of t? So it's like I parameterized that circle that was creating the cylinder. But then what do I want to do for z? I'm going to make z be, I don't know, 4 cosine of 2t, right? So there's an x thing, a y thing, a z thing. Now I need to tell it the parameter, and then I'm going to have it start at 0 and stop at 2 pi. So look at this. This is kind of neat. There are ways to reorient the z-axis in particular. So I'm clicking here, go move graphics view. Right now, if I click and drag, it'll move things left and right. If I just click, like left click, it switches it, and now I can move things up and down. You can see the maximum z value is changing. Like right now it's 6, and now it's 4. So that's useful. Press escape to get out of there. And then you can drag it around. So what I want you to do is just play around, right? Like change up these things, see what happens. Like I didn't need to make it a trig function. I could make it, let's say, t over 3. And that's kind of interesting. Like what's that doing? Kind of looks like a circle this way, but you can see it's actually a circle that's like spiraling up the cylinder. That's called a corkscrew curve or like a helix. All right, so the sky's the limit. Do whatever you want to do. Play around with it. Try to get competent with this. And I will be back for more stuff in the notes in the next video.